that record. Boom. What's up, mortgage coach community? Dave Savage, my wingman co-host Todd Bookspan, and special guest Jeremy Forcier. We only have J Force for about 15 minutes, so we're gonna get right into that. But the topic of today's call is ideas and strategies and words to get meetings with realtors and to have really awesome conversations with realtors that help them sell more homes and help us get more loans. Todd, anything else you want to frame before we just get into it with Jeremy?
I think framing it, for the conversations I've been having with loan officers this past week has been around the CMA a day concept that we introduced last Friday. And so I'm really excited to hear Jeremy's thoughts on that and his script around it. And once we get towards later on in the call and Jeremy's gone, I'll talk through how I've been using it out in the marketplace with real estate agents. So I'm just super stoked to get time with Jeremy.
Cool. Hey, so audience, one more thing. We have a couple other badass special guests coming throughout this call. At least we hope they come. And I'm not going to tell you who their names are. Just let's just say some badass leaders in the mortgage business. But let's kick it off with Jeremy. So Jeremy, just in case there's a new loan officer that's like, who's this Jeremy dude? If you could just tell everybody, give us an idea of what kind of production you're doing right now and how many realtors you're getting business from.
Sure. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm so stoked. I was having MC withdrawals just because having some big projects that needed focus, and I'm back in the saddle, man. So Jeremy Forcier, pleasure to meet all of you who I haven't met before or haven't been introduced to. I am a loan officer, a branch manager, and a regional manager. So I run a personal production team, which is all of my personal loans that I have a support team that supports me. We're knocking down anywhere from 30 to 50 loans a month, just depending on the month in this market right now. And then our branch is doing, around a $500 million, and our region is doing around $2 billion at this point. So we're having a good run. It's a good thing. I got a lot of irons in the fire. I'm having more fun than I've ever had in my entire life. I'm having more anxiety, which I'm working on, that I've ever had in my entire life as well. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword, a teeter-totter right now, working through it. But the opportunity is so great because I do believe that the best days are behind us, which means the best days are in front of us as well. So that's me. Super fun, super flawed, and super focused.
So for all new loan officers, don't be intimidated by those numbers. While Jeremy's always been a top producer, guys, he's been a work in progress. But today, he is one of the greatest in the mortgage business. I mean, that kind of production personally, that type of branch, that type of regional impact. I mean, it's very unique. It's very special. Do not be intimidated by it and take it one day at a time.
Yeah, definitely don't be intimidated by it. Let me tell you, okay? Because I'm still a knucklehead, and that's part of the magic, just so you know. You got to be yourself and work through it and own that. And it's, don't be. I actually did a halftime review yesterday of like, where am I at year to date? How up am I up compared to last year to date? And then I compared that to 2019. And then I went all the way back to 2010 because that's when I started tracking my numbers, right? And man, it's a journey. I mean, you guys, it's a journey. I mean, in 2010, I was doing like 4 to 6 loans a month. Like it's a journey. So it happens step by step. It's like Legos, and you just create the staircase. When you can't see the next step, you have faith and you take the step anyway. And before you know it, you're going to wake up and be doing whatever it is the hell you want to do.
Love that. And also, guys, there is a Jeremy Forcier playlist. So if you're like, I like this guy, I resonate with this guy, you can learn the mortgage business with the Jeremy Forcier playlist, the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel. We'll put a link down below. Check it out. So Jeremy, we only got about 11 minutes left with you. And I want to get a couple scripts that would help, whether it's a new person or a very seasoned loan officer, get a meeting with an agent. And then what would be the kind of conversations you'd be having right now with agents? What would those sound like? So how do we get a meeting?
So getting a meeting first and foremost is that, like, I hate cold calling. I know that we talk about it a lot. So I find any way that I can to warm up a cold call. So call it lukewarm, right? Just 1 degree warmer than ice cold. Like you hear about all these people taking ice cold showers. When I take a cold shower, it's just a It's just not a hot shower. Okay, so I like to warm things up just a little bit. Okay, so one of the tactics that I employ in my business is buddy introductions. Okay, now when I say buddy introductions, I'm going to give you context. There's realtor buddy introductions, there's client buddy introductions, and then there are professional sphere of influence type introductions. Okay, so when we talk about a realtor buddy introduction, if Dave was an agent, right, that I am already working with, and let's say that I only work with 3 agents, right, and Dave's one of them, like I might ask Dave, like, hey Dave, it's Jeremy, what's up, what's going on, blah 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 blah, how you doing, shoot the shit. And then I would ask him, like, hey man, I'm looking to be introduced to a couple of realtors that you really like who in your office or who in the market do you think is really cool, right? And he will come up with 1 or 2 names, right? Oh, I think that Todd Bookspan is actually, he's really cool, man. He's a great agent. Hey, would you mind just doing an introduction like to us either via email or text? I would just love to meet with more people that I like. And if you say that this is a good person, I would love to meet them. So that's an example of a realtor introduction to warm up that call. The reason I love to do that is that you're much more highly likely to get that person to pick up and take your call if you can have some type of third party endorsement, right? So, and it doesn't have to be a crazy endorsement, just a little one, right? Just a little introduction. Now, let's say that Dave says, yeah, no problem, but he doesn't introduce me, which by the way, happens to me all the time. They always say, oh yeah, no problem. And then whew, 3 weeks goes by and they're thinking about escrows or whatever, playing with their kids. And that's totally fine too. Don't take it personal, right? So even if Dave said, yes, I will, and he didn't, I will still call that realtor and say, Dave told me to give you a call. That's another way to brainwash yourself to not making a cold call, right? Is that no, Dave told me to call. Dave told me you were super cool. Dave told me. It's like going to a cool restaurant. If someone makes a recommendation, you just go to the restaurant. If someone makes a recommendation to a cool realtor, you just call the realtor. All right, it's that simple, but you have to figure out ways to brainwash yourself. So that's one way to get a buddy type realtor introduction and make that call, right? And it's a super simple call. Dave told me you're really cool. I'm always looking to connect with cool people. I would love to chat with you, for 15 minutes. When's a good time in your schedule? Super, super, super simple. Okay. Another way to warm it up, let's say that you don't have any realtors you work with. Let's just assume you have 0, right? Or you just don't want to call your realtors and have this conversation. You can do this with anyone, with anyone. Anyone that owns a home, guess who helped them out, Dave?
A realtor.
A realtor. Okay, anyone that you know that owns a home worked with a realtor. You could walk into Starbucks and ask someone in line, like, hey, do you rent or do you own? And they could literally go, oh, I own a house. Hey, what realtor did you work with?
Yeah, well, just
Oh,
everybody knows a cool realtor, whether they know it
yes.
or not.
So you can ask all of your friends, your family, you can use this script, right, to get introduced to real estate agents. All right, it's a really, really, really easy script. And then that way you can take that and move it forward. Some will like you, some won't, most will. Some will like you, some won't, most will. So don't focus on the L's, focus on the dubs, and just keep moving forward and get introductions to those people. Okay, so when you're calling this agent, right? Let's say that you're not calling an agent with this buddy script. Another one that I'm using, which I mean, once again, I didn't make the script up. This is Todd and Dave. Dave sent me a video that you guys did from last week, and it was around a CMA, like a current market analysis, right? So what I'm doing is calling agents. I just started doing this week. So far I've done 4. I'll always be honest. I won't say I've done 50 and it's been incredible. I've done 4 so far. And next week it's my theme. That's what I'm going to be calling on next week. All right. Is that like, hey, the market has slowed down, because it has. Okay. At least where I'm at, super slowed down, right? Market has slowed down, right? It's up to us to generate like the next transactions. And I have this really cool friend of mine who employed this script and this tactic where he's calling all of his past clients or even his sphere of influence, and he is doing a current market analysis a day. And he did this for 30 days, which can generate north of 10 transactions. Are you interested in generating 10 more transactions? And can I show you how to do it? Right? Super simple, right? So remember, realtors want you to help them in only one of 3 areas. Number 1, make more money. Okay. Number 2, save them time. Okay. Save them time. And number 3, close the loan and make them look good. That's it. That's ultimately what they want. So if you can show them how to make more money, save more time, and make them look good, you're golden. So if you focus your context and your scripts around those three things, it's hard to lose more than you win. Okay, it's hard to lose more than you win. So a couple other scripts that I'm using that are working really well. I started doing this. I'm starting a lot of things, by the way, because I'm fired up. I'm ready for the second half to be better than the first half, and the first half was really good. Okay, so it started getting slower, and I was like, panic. That's the anxiety part. Like, I'm just like anyone else. I felt slowness coming, and I did what I coach everyone else that I mentor not to do. I panicked mentally. Right now, I only panic for moments, not days and weeks. I panic for moments, right? And I get over it quickly. But I panicked. It's getting slow. How am I going to keep this volume up? How am I going to keep everyone employed? How am I going to hit the goals? Like, and I started going through all this, and I just realized that, hey, this isn't a big deal. I have an opportunity to absolutely crush it. Okay, moving forward. So let's employ some different tactics. Let's get back in touch with the agents that you haven't been in touch with. Let's look with how many we work with. So in the last 12 months, I've closed a transaction with 84 different agents. Okay, so 84 different agents. That was one of the questions you asked, right? So 84 different agents. Now, a lot of people might say, oh my God, that's great. Just so you know, that's awful. I wish that it was way less. I swear to God, I really do. But I am blessed and grateful for that opportunity. What that means in my market is that nobody does any volume. Okay, so I have to work with more and more and more and more to keep my volume up, right? So, but it's still a blessing. So 84 different people. So what did I do? I figure out the 84 that I did. Those are the first people that I'm calling. It's that simple. Call people that are familiar to you, that are familiar with you. If it was in the last 12 months, it's like, I'm going to make up this percentage, but I would assume it's 75% of those people will remember who you are on the buy side and the listing side, because they remember the transactions they close, right? If a realtor, average realtor, let's say, is closing 15 deals a year, like a good one, like that's only 15 they have to remember in the last 12 months, right? So you can reference addresses, you can reference how it went, you can reference all of these things and call them. You can share the CMA a day, right? You can do all of these things. But what I did was I went through and I found a really good article, okay, on Apple News. So it was just super simple in my stock app. I have an Apple News is integrated with it. I look at it every morning. I found this really cool heading that said why this isn't a bubble and prices aren't going down anytime soon, right? And the article was actually really good, and it talked about both sides, about devil's advocate on both sides of what may or may not happen. And I thought it was an excellent article, super useful for agents, especially talking to buyers that are having this dialogue with themselves of like, should I not buy now? Like, things are out of control, etc. And all I did was I went through and I text half of that group of the 84, so 42. Okay, I text them, right? Hey, this was a great read. Awesome information for your buyers. Let me know what you think and if I can be of service today. Text them that with the article link. Dude, it was great. I got a 50% response rate and I got 8 leads. Okay, 50% response rate, 8 leads. Now, the other thing that's really cool is that I'm teaching you how to warm up your calls, just so you know, right? So what I did that was really easy after I sent that is I called those people over the next 10 days. Hey, Brandon, did you get that, that text I sent with that? Yeah, he didn't respond, right? Hey, did you get the text I sent with this and that? What did you think of it? You can find ways to call, and it doesn't matter if they say, yes, I read it, no, I read it. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're making the connections, you're adding value, and you're giving them an opportunity to engage with you so that you can build a foundation for a relationship, because a house is not built in one day, it's built over time. And that's what you have to focus on when you're doing these realtor calls, in my opinion.
So Jeremy, I mean, Mike dropped great scripts, guys. That CMA a day is a huge strategy. We rolled that out last week. Todd and I will talk more about that throughout this call. Jeremy, I would love you to just speak real quick. You mentioned you're having the CMA a day call with realtors.
Yep.
And on the other side of that wall mark is a TCA a day.
That's right.
And I know you do more than a TCA a day, because I see your numbers. I think you're like over 80 TCAs this month, or over the last 30 days. How are you going to just give anyone who's a sales manager on this call, or anyone that leads other loan officers, your thoughts on how they might do the TCA a day with the loan officers they manage?
Yep. So TCA a day for me goes live on Monday. So it's really, really simple. I'm doing a contest with all the loan officers, right? They can all enter the contest, and it's around doing a total cost analysis per day, right? And we're going to track it. They have to email us proof that they do. We're going to track it in an Excel spreadsheet over 30 days. And we're going to look at the end of the 30 days who did the most. And there's going to be a prize, right? An incentive prize. Like I'll give you an example. If, by the way, if my LOs are watching this right now, you don't know this yet. You're getting a sneak preview on the video that's coming out on Monday. So on Monday, you're going to get a video that says, hey, we're doing a TCA a day challenge. Here's what it looks like. It can be for a past client, current client, new lead, pre-approved person that's already pre-approved. It can be to a realtor. It can be leveraged. It can be to a one that's in contract. It doesn't matter, but let's track how many you do a day. One is the minimum every single day, 7 days a week, 7 days a week, 7 days a week. If you don't do it 7 days a week, you're out. All right. So 7 days a week, we're doing it. And at the end, they're going to get an incentive prize. Whoever did the most, right, is going to get 2 nights to a nice hotel, right? 2 nights to a nice hotel. And then whoever gets the most transactions increase, right, from where they're at, is going to get a 3-night hotel stay somewhere. So that's what we're doing with it. I think that you're going to see people's conversion rates increase by 30%, at least that work with me, that aren't doing, they have the software, but they're not using it every single time. And I think they're going to see their conversion rates skyrocket. And it's just a win-win-win for everyone involved.
So dude, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Remember everybody, I told you we had another special guest coming, or maybe a couple special guests. We just got Todd Duncan in the house. Say hi to Todd, Jeremy.
Todd, what up, man? I like your background better than mine.
You know what? I'm in my wife's office and I'm bathed in pink, so hopefully I got a little extra power today. But dude, you look like you're in the best shape of your life.
I'm getting there. I am, and I'm getting there. I got a little bit ways to go. I'm going to be fully optimized Jeremy 2.0 by the end of the year.
Remember, awesome. Guys, Jeremy was a personal trainer once upon a time. So before he got in the mortgage business, that's what he did for a living. So very cool.
Yeah. Well, hey, Todd, crush it. Looking forward to listening to what you got going on. And thanks for having me on, Todd and Dave.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeremy. We appreciate you, brother. Jump out whatever you need to get to your next meeting. And thank you for being here. So Todd Bookspan, before we bring Todd Duncan on stage, anything you want to unpack from what Jeremy just shared?
I mean, just, you got to go back and listen to it again and take notes. I mean, I've got a page of notes on what he said, but he breaks it down and Jeremy makes it easy for you to replicate what he did. He just gave you some great scripts. And if you're not fired up and ready as soon as this call ends to jump out and give it a try, I think you're crazy, right? I mean, you can find these realtors out there. It's not going to be that difficult. And he just wants to be lukewarm, right? He didn't say they need to be a hot handoff, just a lukewarm handoff. And I think you just have to get rid of that negative voice that's saying, but he's Jeremy Forcier. And remember, you're you and you can crush it. And as he said, he is super fun, super flawed, and super focused. And I need and want you to be, because in the end, that's what it's going to take. You have the gift of his scripts, and I would just jump out there and get busy here in about 42 minutes.
So one more thing before I bring Todd Duncan on stage. Todd, if you could pull up that CMA a day poster that Win by Noon is coming out, guys. So last week, Todd and I announced the CMA a day contest or challenge for the mortgage coach community and the TCA a day for the month of July. So, and you just heard Jeremy, he heard that call. He is taking action. Here we are a week later, and he's rolling it out within his team. We'll talk more about that at the end of the call. But Todd, could you just show that real quick? Oh, there it is.
There's the, so it's 22 by 17, right? So it folds out, right? So this is the sample of it, but the printer, whoops, I'll have to us momentarily, but it's really big. Like if I held it up, it covers my face. And this is the back side of it, CMA a day for a quarter. And then the other side of it's obviously the TCA a day. And then I'll throw up into the group once the call gets over. I've got a 4-week TCA a day. I'll get out and make a 4-week CMA a day for you guys to provide your agents. But you know, this is the wall poster version of it. This is really the visual to keep you going. But we also do have a freebie for those of you who just want the quick and easy to get rolling.
Okay, pull that down, brother. So guys, it's a wall size poster. Half of it's for loan officers, TCA a day. Half of it's CMA a day for agents. Get out there with your agents. And guys, as Jeremy said, it's slowing down in some markets. It's a great way for real estate agents to generate transactions. If they do it every day, as Todd said last week, could be 10 extra deals for a realtor. And if you could be the loan officer that brought them an idea that helped them get 10 extra deals, they're going to like you. So let's bring Todd Duncan on stage. So Todd, to frame today's conversation, first of all, dude, I've interviewed you more times than I know. There is a Todd Duncan playlist in the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel. And I thought this Tuesday's interview, talk less, sell more. I mean, I hate saying anything's the best, but I mean, it was a really good conversation. Did you feel the same way?
I did, and there was some magic to it because I think that everybody resonated with the idea. And, I think if we start to look in the mirror and the beauty about what you guys do in Mortgage Coach and the beauty of how that marries up with high trust is it actually should be the other way around. You should be able to talk much, much less, and you should be able to convert much, much higher. And it's a shift. It's a pivotal shift that's going to be mandated in the marketplace. And it's been there forever. I mean, salespeople typically have to figure out when do they stop talking and start asking. And the real pros do it the other way around. They start asking and then they just shut up and they listen. And so we're trying to flip the script a little bit. And it's really interesting, Dave. We've talked with just shy of about 900 real estate agents in the last 60 days. And all of them have said two things that are really, really clear. One is that they would like a deeper relationship with their lender to win. And, the way that happens is by asking new questions, different questions, and really getting into the core of what makes relationships tick. And if the relationship is solid, then, all the TCAs in the world are going to be just a natural outcropping of that relationship. So that's number one. The second thing is that there's national polls indicating from Selling Power magazine, from Harvard and from Princeton that actually in the sales world, you can talk yourself out of the sale. And I think that's what ends up happening is we get too logical, we get too excited about what we know we can do, and we end up just talking too much. So it was a great conversation with you, and I felt that we were dialed in on some stuff that the mortgage world needs to own, and they need to own it fast, because the markets are shifting and the way consumers go about getting to lenders is shifting, and we got to make it impactful, man.
So I took a couple notes, and I'm actually writing a LinkedIn article on that call because I thought it was so important. And you said the word conversational productivity needs to be better than ever. And I agree with that. The way when Jeremy's talking to an agent, it's a really productive. I mean, there's a lot of fun, a lot of personal connection, and a lot of authenticity, but it's productive for both parties. And then my favorite quote from that conversation we had is, we need to stop listening to sell and we need to listen to solve. And I don't know that that's a new idea, but it's a great reminder. And all of us, I mean, we do it. And you actually gave a framework for questions, like don't lead, like just ask a question and let them talk and then come in and solve. So the theme for today's call is how can our community get more meetings with realtors? And Jeremy gave a really good strategy and a script for that. And then what are some questions that they should ask? I'm going to ask you so that they can have a really good, productive conversation with an agent today. And I know you've only got like 15-ish minutes. Again, you can stay on this call as long as you want, but I want to honor your time. But could you give everybody how to get a meeting, an idea and script, and some ideas on what to say, ideas and script?
So I think the way to get meetings today from the vantage point that we have is to be able to create a unique value proposition around winning and around growing and around profiting. Okay, so every single real estate agent on the planet wants to win, they want to grow, and they want to profit if they're worth doing business with, like in the mortgage coach community. There's a lot of realtors that don't want that, and obviously they kind of weed themselves out, right? But if I can come at a meeting with the idea that what makes me unique and different is not only do I know how to help you grow your business as an agent professional, but I can demonstrate it through the amount of referral velocity that I can actually create for you. And I think this is the new mandate. We've been talking about it forever. And as a loan rep, I did it a whole bunch. And the idea today is that if, let me back up and tell you that part of the surveys we've just concluded is 3% of realtors 3% of realtors actually do an annual real estate review with their buyers and sellers. 3%. 97% don't do it. So if I want to step in and create massive economic value, I want to step in and make that part of our partnership. And if you think about it, and I'm going to give you something right now that we're going to unpack on Irrefutable on July 22nd, but I want you to think about it right now. The average sales price of a home in America right now is about $409,000. And that's as of January of this year. So if we take a buy side or a sell side and we look at a 2.5% commission, you know, give or take a thousand either way, it's $10,000 in commission. Okay. So if I really want to come alongside an agent and really do a formidable partnership that helps them win financially and also from a growth standpoint, then I can come at this and I can say, listen, our job over the next couple of years is to engage 200 buyers and sellers, many of whom you've already done business with. And let's figure out how to integrate the combination of the annual client review and include a real estate review, and watch how the economics work, Dave. If I have 200 buyers and sellers as an agent and my lender has come together to help me formulate this plan, and each one of those buyers or sellers only produces another listing, another sale, or a referral about every 15 months. So in 5 years, those buyers and sellers would produce 4 transactions. So a buyer or a seller that produces 4 is worth $40,000. So if I can help an agent build the emotional and economic database where that connection takes place, and in concert, we do reviews together. Think about how huge this is. We do reviews together. Then what happens is TCA is integrated, mortgage efficiency is integrated, referrals integrated. Now, if I have a $40,000 buyer over 5 years, and I'm a real estate agent and I have 200 loyal buyers and sellers, just do the math real quick. If I take $40,000 and times it by 200, that's an $8 million gross close commission business in every 5 years. And so how do you get the meeting, and what are the questions? Conversational productivity, and you guys are going to get this real quick. Most of the business, realtors and loan officers, spend 80% of their time talking and 20% of their time listening. Okay, conversational productivity flips that. I'm going to spend 80% of my time listening, and I'm going to spend 20% of my time asking. Therefore, I can cut the number of questions by 80%. I can ask deeper, more meaningful questions, and I can expand the productivity by 80%. And so a great question is, you know, if you could design the perfect future for your real estate business and your life, what do the next 3 years look like? I mean, that's a great question. And then if you shut up on that, you can get about 10 minutes of dialogue. If we start to look at businesses that way and we start to integrate that way, then what ends up happening is we create this brand lock-in. Because think about it, if you create an economy for an agent that's worth $8 million, just think about this for a second. What's going to happen to your book of business? What's going to happen to your loyalty? What's going to happen to your referrals? What's going to happen to your brand lock-in? What's going to happen from your vantage point in terms of scaling? And this is where I think it really gets missed. You know, so it's conversational productivity is you have to ask fewer really strong questions, fewer, and then the sales pros are going to do that. And even with borrowers, you know, borrowers and agents, but the beauty of the agent piece, or any business partner piece, but the agent piece, the beauty of that is when the lender and the agent come together and we have this loyalty plan, the economics for the agent are off the grid. They're just off the grid. I talked to somebody 2 weeks ago that last year referred $1.3 million in commissions to agents. And when you stop and think about that, everybody's going to need you.
Yeah,
no. That Dan Keller.
Yeah,
hey,
man, we got a rock star crew. Remember, everybody? I told you we had
What's up, brother?
Guest. We're gonna close out with Dan.
Nice.
Dan, are you going to be able to be on to the end, or do you have a hard stop at some point?
No, we're good. I was tied up for the first 30, so I just jumped on, so I'm here.
Sweet. So guys, a couple things. So one, I'm not going to have Todd unpack everything that he did in Tuesday's call, because one, you can listen to Tuesday's call, talk less, sell more with Todd Duncan. Two, there'll be a LinkedIn article this week coming up, because he gave over 5, I think like 7 great borrower questions to ask. And he gave about 3 or 4 great agent questions asked. And so I'm going to put that in a LinkedIn article. Todd also gave us a document. So there's a lot of gold in them there hills. If you want to get Todd's questions, I'm not going to have him repeat them right now. What I do want to do is, because I think Todd's doing an event that I think is a very special, very important event coming up later this month called Irrefutable. And Todd, you're welcome to stay on this whole call, but I do want to get Dan into the conversation. But if you could just let everybody know about Irrefutable, because I want to make sure everybody in the mortgage coach community knows about it. I'm personally going to listen to it live because I just think it's, when Todd Duncan spends 100 hours to put together 5 principles that he thinks important, like I'm going to be taking notes. I'm going to be using that stuff and I'm going to be there, and I want the mortgage coach community to know about it. So Todd, could you just tell us about Irrefutable real quick before we bring Dan on stage?
Yeah, before I do that, I want to tell everybody to just write this down, these 3 words down. Are you aware? Okay, are you aware, ... That's the most formidable question that a mortgage professional needs to ask. And when you ask, are you aware to a borrower, or are you aware to an agent, it puts you in an authority position to answer that. And so the crafting of questions has to be around, are you aware? And then whatever you add to that has to create so much question in the prospect's mind that they're absolutely magnetized to you. And if the are you aware is strong enough, and even I might say painful enough in terms of just volunteering kind of a contrast, then people need you. And it's a powerful question to ask, and that just needs to become a habit. And one of the ones we shared on your call on Tuesday was, are you aware that the lowest rate with the wrong strategy can cost you more than a slightly higher rate with the right strategy? And that's going to cause somebody to go, well, what does that actually mean? And then you can talk from your position as a mortgage pro, right? And we just have to ask those questions. Are you aware? Attorneys do it all the time. Doctors do it all the time.
So Todd, you also shared a really powerful, another phrase, guys, write this down. It's not I didn't come up with this. Todd came up with it. So I want to make sure I give him credit. I think equally as important as are you aware, and then frame and question. I had brought up the question to always ask clients, hey, how old do you want to be when you're going to be debt free? And then how old are you going to be? And Todd just pre-framed it and he said, hey, most loan officers won't tell you this, or most loan officers won't ask this question, but how old do you want to be when you're debt free? So write down, most loan officers won't tell or show, kind of whatever is more relevant, or ask, but most loan officers won't do this, but how old do you want to be when you're debt free? And based on the loan you're currently getting in, how old are you going to be? So you're creating that gap. But you can put that most loan officers won't tell or won't show this. You can put that in front of a lot of things. And now, again, make sure you don't overuse it, because if you put it in front of something that is standard loan officer speak, you lose credibility. But if you put that in front of the right thing, lots of value. Anything you want to say to that, Todd?
Well, yeah, and for sure, because I think what ends up happening is people need to understand that we don't want to put down the competition. We want to be proud of what we do. We want to be proud of how we're different. We want to be proud of how we're unique. But if I say to a real estate agent, most lenders will call on you because they want to get loans from you. Here's how I'm different. Okay, and it's called story selling. Deb and I wrote about this in 5 Stars, one of our best-selling books. And when I can story sell, most lenders are happy to quote you an interest rate and send you a total cost, analysis or a fee sheet or whatever. How we are different is we spend 45 minutes upfront making sure that we integrate the best mortgage for you based on your goals. We show you how we're going to manage that mortgage for you, and we're going to show you how to make that mortgage efficient for you over time. That's the kind of stuff that, because we know that to be true. And so that's you can't really overuse that, but you just don't want to use it back to back to back. You want to use it as a disruptor, a differentiator. And then all of a sudden they go, it's right. I've talked to a couple lenders and that's exactly what they did. So anyway, Irrefutable, 100 hours, 1,000 interviews. And what we came up with was, here's 5 principles, period, that cannot be argued, they cannot be proven wrong, they cannot be made to be inaccurate or not valuable. And the idea behind the principles, Dave, is that once you understand the principle, it makes the business more efficient. And I noticed on your invite here, it says you guys are all about working through strategies to save you time and make you more productive. And what Irrefutable is it's 5 principles, 4 hours. It's a 12-week implementation playbook on how to scale and how to scale not by working harder, how to scale not by working more hours, how to scale not by spending more money, how to scale because these principles are efficient. So I go back to Jeremy, and I'll just give everybody a little bit of an appetite. So principle number 3. I'll just give it to you right now. Principle number 3 is competence leads to confidence. Confidence leads to consistency. And the biggest problem with sales is we're not consistent. And Jeremy made that point early on, that it's the behavior of consistency. Now, why aren't most people consistent? Well, they're not consistent because they're either not at 100% confidence, or before that, they're not at 100% competence. And so when people get competent, then they get confident. And then the idea of being consistent is a natural outcropping. And then what we know about those 3 things is that's what compounds. And so it's not doing, and I heard right before I got on live, it's not what you do in a day, it's what you do every single day. And it's like, I got to practice the crap out of all of this stuff so that I am game ready and consistent. And, at the end of the day, if we look at the amount of time in which, even as sales leaders, our sales teams aren't productive. Why is that? They're either not competent or they're not confident. If you look at any gaps in any business where you have consistency gaps in execution, we have consistency gaps in execution because we don't have confidence or we don't have competence. So we have to do that. I tell the example of when I learned how to fly a plane. The most important part of being a pilot is you got to land. And landing for me was the hardest thing to get my head around. And it took 113 landings, and some of them were almost death-defying before I finally had it all kind of figured out. And now I land with confidence. And every time I land, the landings are smooth. Maybe 1 out of every 10 has a little bit of crosswind and whatnot, but it was that practice. And that's not a new idea for anybody, but what does that really mean? Like when you take it to the mortgage planning world, or when you take it to the partner development world, or what does it really mean when you take it to the relationship world? And so we're going to talk about what that looks like and what that behavior looks like. But the 5 principles are absolutely 100% bankable. You can't prove them wrong. We're telling every mortgage professional to invite their real estate agents. Okay, we have room for 5,000 people, and we're going to sell it out at that. And the idea is, let's bring the agents along. So let's give the agents a 12-week playbook so that we can sit down with them over 12 weeks and help do exactly what you asked me about when we got on the call. And then let's give everybody the 100-hour labor that went into a 4-hour presentation. Let's give that to everybody for a year to use. So you can all year long build the relationships, replay the video, use it as an approach campaign for new real estate agents. Take your best agents to a deeper level of productivity. And, I think with your code, it's like $49. And here's what I'll tell you. If an agent comes to Irrefutable and they pay $49, they will know how to make $4,900 a week more by the time the webinar is over. And that's a real value prop for the lender to bring. And the lender is going to understand this too. How do we go from the average hourly rate in mortgage lending that is abysmally low? And I'm not going to apply that to the mortgage coach community because I think by default, you guys are stronger financially. But what does that really look like? And when you stop and think about coming out of a 4-hour program and going from $62 an hour to $830 an hour, and you can do that every hour of the day for the rest of your life, how would that change your dynamics? And you and I were talking about, why don't we just make like the next 10 years the 10-year masterpiece of our business? Why would we not do something like this? And why would anybody not decide to make in a year what the rest of the community takes 5 years or 10 years to make? Why wouldn't we not do that? Why would we not make like the next 10 years the masterpiece of our career? And that's what these 5 principles are. And they're never going to change, which is what's most exciting about the principles.
So guys, there is a mortgage coach discount. We put it down below to the website. If the event is $99, it's MC 50, I think, but the code is down below. Put that in and you get it for $49. Now, I personally think, buy 10, bring a bunch of realtors, go through this program. I'm going to be on it. It's going to be awesome. Todd Duncan, you are welcome to stay through the rest of the call, but I also know you got a lot going on, and you did me a favor coming in for 15, 20 minutes, kind of helping book in Jeremy and Dan. And again, I'm a big fan of Refutable. Can't wait for the live event. Link down below, guys. Thank you, brother. Are you going to stay or you got to jump?
I've got a live at 10, so I'll stay for 5. But I just want to say it's really great to be in between Jeremy Forcier and Dan Keller, and it's really great to be on the same program with Todd Bookspan because we have beautiful, rich history. Dan Keller set the bar when he got a selfie stick and put his iPhone out in front of a speech at Sales Mastery because I think live had just started happening, and Dan Keller was the first guy I saw do that from stage. So it's always good to see you, Dan.
Oh man, so good to see you.
We're going live. We're going live. Here's Dan on stage with a stick and his phone going. That's great.
Yep.
I remember that, man. I was front row because Dan was a big mortgage coach, and he built mortgage coach into that. And I was like, camera was on Dan was on the thing. I mean, that was kind of, I don't want to say it was a kickoff of social media. I think it was the year or two after social media became a big thing, but Dan was one of the first loan officers to really get on stage, deliver a keynote, and kind of unpack what it means to build a personal brand. So that was special. So
so I'll hang out, but just thank you guys for listening. And just the biggest no-brainer on this whole deal is invite 10 realtors. It's super simple, and we'll have a lot of fun doing it. So thanks, Dave, for letting me on. Todd Bookspan, good to see you.
Right on.
Yeah, great seeing you. Let me real quick, Dave. Let me repeat what Todd just said. It is a no-brainer. I've got almost 2 decades of investing a lot of money in Todd and learning from him. And I can remember, had to be 18, 19 years ago, sitting in what's now the boot camp, and maybe even has a new name since then, and hearing him tell what he just told, where he talked about going from making just, small dollars an hour to making thousands of dollars an hour, and thinking, can you really do it? And guess what? Can, right? He taught me and I did. And now you've got an opportunity to invest $50 in yourself and into your best realtors in order to do it. And so I think, again, I said it when Jeremy talked. Jeremy makes it sound easy. Todd makes it sound easy, but what you'll get in Irrefutable is he's going to give you the steps to make it happen. And, I'm living proof that Todd helps people do this, help others. For me, the biggest part's not that I became wealthy. It's that I've impacted so many other people now who have become wealthy as a result of what I learned.
Thanks, Todd.
Beautiful, beautiful testimonial. So, Dan, before we bring you on stage, the theme of today's call is an idea or a script to get a meeting with a realtor. And Jeremy netted that out in about 5 to 7 minutes. And then what's a conversation to have a really good conversation with an agent that's productive, that helps them sell more homes, helps you get more loans. Now, Dan, I don't know if you heard about it, but last week, Todd and I launched a challenge called CMA a day for agents and TCA a day for realtors. Are you familiar with that at all, by the way? Are you aware of that challenge that we rolled out?
100%. Yeah, I think that's incredible. Brilliant.
Sweet. So now Jeremy gave his scripting. He's going to start calling agents next week. And I'm not saying you need to tell us if you're doing that, great. If you're not doing it or you're putting it off till next month, that's fine. But let's just get right into what is a good Dan Keller script to get a meeting with a new realtor. And then let's get into no more than 2 scripts. Okay, you got the meeting. What are you talking about?
Yeah. First off, I think every incredible mortgage professional that you've had on any of your masterminds has a little bit of Todd Duncan DNA in them. So if any mortgage professionals are listening to this and you've heard of Todd Duncan, learn more about Todd Duncan, sign up for Irrefutable, go to Sales Mastery. I got turned on to Todd Duncan early on in my career, and there's scripts that I just randomly will say that have Todd Duncan DNA in them today. So it's a huge honor. I had no idea I was going to be here. I probably would have dressed a little nicer for you, Todd. But no, but Todd's one of those
Thanks,
legends
Dan.
of the industry. So when he speaks, listen. And that's what, I mean, just in the 15 minutes I was on, page of notes. So I'm looking forward to sign up for Irrefutable as well. But as far as hey, we're all chasing realtors right now. I think, last year was, and I know Todd and Dave talked about this the other day. Last year was an anomaly. It was a great run. We had to do what we had to do to take care of our clients and to take care of new business that came in relative to refinances and low interest rates. But the real estate agents right now need us more than ever, and our businesses need realtors more than ever. And so perfect timing for some of these events to be showing up, or these challenges as well to be showing up. I'll just share a strategy that I'm using right now, and it's nothing new, but it's working and it's winning for me. And it's something that I've done with about 3 of my top realtors, and they're top realtors because I think they care enough to do this with their clients. But one of the things that we're doing right now, and this is what there's some really great things that COVID presented, opportunities for us. Zoom calls. So during COVID, we couldn't meet people. And so instead of a client or a realtor saying, hey, I need you to call John and Cindy, they're looking to get pre-approved. I said, well, let's do a Zoom. Let's do a quick introduction. We've got the realtor there. We've got me. You can introduce me. I can upsell you and let them know, how blessed they are to have someone like you in their corner. And we can do a pre-mortgage planning call together. It's a budgeting call together. And one of the things, we're up in Seattle, and so we're still a little bit tight up here, and some people have opened up to meeting people, some have not. But what we're doing right now is I'm asking my realtors to do exactly that. When they refer me, hey, let's set up a real quick 5 to 15 minute Zoom call with the 3 of us, the 3 parties, and let's show these clients that, hey, 1, we care. Number 2, we have a strategy, because you need an A team right now in this market. And you guys, it's working. It's working so good. The realtors that I'm doing this with love it. The clients, the conversion levels are through the roof. And so that's the one thing so when I'm calling realtors right now, that's my value proposition. To be quite frank, I've got a system in my business right now that has literally increased my conversion rates, and it came out of COVID. I'd love to share this with you. But I do name drop. I'm not going to kid you. I use the triangle for trust in my business. So I name drop some of the top realtors in the marketplace that I work with. You may have heard of them, but we use this with every single one of our home buyer introductions, and it's working incredibly well. And I kind of give them an overview. I say, I'd love to meet up with you, and I'd love to show you a little bit more about this. And then it's my opportunity now. I know, Todd, you guys just talked about this, but Todd Duncan just talked about the Are You Aware? I think I was on a call with you guys about a month ago, and my word for 2021 is awareness. It has been. And so if you go to budgetwithdan.com, I have a wealth awareness test. I have a where are you now and where do you want to be test. And it's all about financial literacy. And so when I sit down with these realtors, I'm able to say, hey, listen, it's more than a loan application. It's more than a mortgage pre-approval. 1, we're building out a strategy for our clients to win in this market. Number 2, I ask the tough questions that other loan officers won't. Where are you right now financially? Where do you want to be? And basically what you and Todd just said. What age do you want to be when you want to be debt-free and when you want to retire? It's 2 different things. And so, and then I want to help them build out a plan with budgeting with Dan.com. I show them how to budget, et cetera. And the realtors that I've showed this to, I just met with one this morning at 8 o'clock. And it was mind blown. And in fact, he was like, hey, would you do this with my wife and I? I'm like, absolutely.
So love that, Dan. And I could totally see how that would improve conversion, improve connection, lay a strong foundation for a client for life relationship. So great script. Make a note of it, guys. Try it. Tell us what you think of it. What is a good realtor conversation right now? Jeremy shared how next week, all of his realtor calls, he's going to be doing the CMA a day challenge with them. And then he also shared what he did. I think he did 40 of them last week. He picked a great article from his Apple News app. It was around right now, is now a great time to buy a home, or he actually put a link to it in here. And then he texted that, and then he followed up with all his agents. what are some strategies or scripts that you're deploying to have conversations with realtors right now?
Yeah. So I'm asking every realtor right now, and I'm just coming out and asking them this, and then I'm coming full circle and letting them know why. But I'm asking their opinion on, are we in a bubble? Are we heading toward a bubble? Are we in a bubble? And how do you answer that? Because our clients are asking us this. And then they'll share, I don't know. Yes, we are. Maybe no, we're not. I don't know. The market's super inflated. Most the general consensus is that we're in a blip right now up here in Seattle, where we're actually coming out of it, where it was just insane. 150 to 200,000, 300,000 over asking price, stuff like that. 50 offers. We're back down to our clients or our agents are seeing 5 to 10 offers versus 30 or 40, stuff like that. But the reason why I'm asking realtors this is because I truly believe, I've done a lot of research on this, and I just interviewed, I'm a part of Financing the American Dream. So I just interviewed one of the top local builders last month, and we went back and forth on this. And I said, hey, you survived the 07 to 09 housing market as a builder. I'm curious, tell me about that. And this was totally off. We were not recording. And because I seem to think, and you guys, this might be a great conversation to have in chat or just on social media or another call. I think that what we're going through right now stems from back in 2007, 2008, where the economy completely shut down. The housing market completely shut down for 4 or 5 years. Banks were having a hard time lending. They were going through a design process. And so if you put, just like we saw in COVID, and this is what triggered this thought, and then some research, with COVID, manufacturing stopped, right? So now look at air conditioning units, look at automobiles, look at wood, lumber, look at all of these things that were manufactured in the US. When it comes to a stop, you got to crank it back up. We're now behind. Cars are going up in value right now. My truck is actually worth $10,000 more than what I bought it for 2 years ago, right? And so it got me thinking about lumber and the housing industry. And between some research I've done in this builder, we came to the conclusion that, yeah, right now this inventory shortage is something that can be basically tracked back to the last housing crisis. But even though we stopped manufacturing homes, builders did, we still have more people moving to the United States, more people that are graduating college, more people that are entering the housing market. And so that builder, a lot of smart people that I've talked to said, I think we're going to see this housing shortage for the next 3 to 5 years. So no, this isn't a bubble. This is just something that we're making up for lost time from a production standpoint. And when you frame it that way, the home buyers like to hear that versus we're in this bubble and it's potentially going to pop.
Good leadership, brother. So we got 7 minutes left. Someone asked, Sean, yeah, these videos are interviewed. It will be in the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel, in the playlist, Friday Mastermind. I may add this one to definitely one of the best calls of this year. So we have a playlist for the best of 2021. I'll get some feedback from the team. Personally, I think this is one of the all-time best Friday Mastermind. So it might make the all-time playlist. We had Jeremy Forcier crushing it for 15 minutes. We had Todd Duncan crushing it for 20, 25 minutes. And now we got Dan Keller crushing it for 10 to 15 minutes. So Todd Bookspan, I do want to make sure, I know you're going to be on a stage later today and you're going to be sharing the CMA a day challenge and talking about that. I would love for you, Todd Bookspan, to share that in like 3, no more than 4 minutes, so we could get Dan Keller's kind of breaking it down. Like, I like that, but this is what I would do. So what are you going to share from stage in I think a couple hours to a room full of realtors?
Yeah, it's funny because I normally decline. I get invited a lot to speak here locally, and I normally decline, and I'll send someone on my team or someone else to it. But we were talking about getting prepped for this call, and of course I was like, all right, I'm gonna do what I tell everyone on this call to do. When someone gives you the invitation, take it. And so I got the opportunity to speak to a realtor group. It's their second meeting. They had, I think, 25 people at the last meeting. They expect 30 to 50 at this meeting, and they're really talking to agents about how to grow wealth. And so, of course, right up Dan's alley. And I thought to myself, well, I know how to do it. I'm going to get there, and I'm going to talk to them about this idea of a CMA a day. And it's funny. One of the things I love, hearing other people who are abundant thinkers like Jeremy, because again, when we put out the TCA and the CMA a day chart, it's got on there Saturday and Sunday. And I thought, oh, you know what? I don't think people want to work 7 days a week. And I just love it because Jeremy said, hey, my team, if they're in the contest, they got to do a TCA every single day, even on the weekend, 7 days a week. And so now I'm like, all right, that's awesome. I'm so glad it's in there. So that little voice, that negative voice that I have, that you may have too, just always props up. And so for me, it was just such a natural thing when I get up and talk. You always want to add value. And I was thinking, well, how do I get up and sound different, right? I mean, you heard Dan say it a minute ago. He said, I ask the hard questions that other loan officers won't ask. And so I'm going to get up there and I'm going to start off with probably a script I learned on this call today, and it's just pitch them. Hey, I think the best thing that you can do today is get out there and help your clients. Right now, your clients are worried that we're in a bubble. And I don't know, what do you guys think? And then I'll pause, right? I'll take what Todd just said, talk less, ask more questions, and I'll let that conversation go around the room and let people tell me. And I'll say, awesome, hey, I've got some great information on that. I'd love to text you an article on that. And then I'll text them afterwards. I'll have them give me their information. I'll give out my cell phone number, have them text me for that article. So I'll get their contact info. That's my lukewarm intro that he's asking for. And then I'm going to text them the article afterwards, and I'm going to ask for a meeting. And so I'm going to continue to take what I just learned today and make what I was already thinking about. I've got 10 minutes and how to make that even better. And then I'm going to walk them through doing a TCA a day or CMA a day. And I'm going to actually have them team up with a loan officer on my team to do that. Again, taking one from what I just heard Todd say, why don't you just do this together, do the CMA and the TCA with your realtor, do those reviews. And I'm going to be partnering people up, and I'll walk out of a room where I know for sure I know one person in the room. I may not know any of the other folks in there, but I'd be shocked if I don't walk out of there with 80% of the people, their contact information, wanting to get together with a member of my team and wanting to participate in the CMA day. So my commitment to you guys is I'll report back next week when Dave and I on the call, let you know how it went. But I'm super, super stoked for the opportunity.
So one suggestion and one ask, and then Dan, get ready to give your impressions of that. So one, make sure you share, hey, there's a realtor that did this CMA a day. They did it 30 times and they got 10 real estate opportunities. So make sure you're connecting the action to a result, and you have a story. Todd told a story last week about that. You notice Jeremy just implemented that. Your story became his story. So make sure you connect results. And then Todd, the ask is take a picture of the room and let us know how it came out. And with that said, Dan, any thoughts on that? Any Dan, you want to Dan Kellerize that strategy?
Yeah. Now that gets me excited for you, Todd. That's gonna be awesome, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that presentation goes. I love it. I love the CMA a day. I love the TCA a day contest. I think the biggest thing with real estate agents right now, I did a 1-minute video yesterday, and I put it on Instagram about a strategy that's working for first-time homebuyers right now, how to beat your competition and how to beat all cash offers right now in the craziest market ever. If you're renting a house right now, call your landlord and say, hey, I want to buy my house from you. I want to buy this house from you. It eliminates competition. It allows you to get in the game. And so I think the whole CMA aspect of it is, I would open, as I'm talking to real estate agents about this, I'm seeing a trend right now with first-time home buyers or people that are renting. They're going to landlords and they're buying their home. Right now, we're in a situation where homeowners have more equity than they've ever had before. Home buyers have an opportunity of a lifetime to lock in a 30-year fixed rate lower than we've ever seen before. This is the first time in my career in 15 years where it's been a win-win for sellers, homeowners, and home buyers at the same time. This is a message that needs to get out. And when you present that to homeowners with a CMA, it just shows them the numbers right in front of them. And I can't imagine that business won't come out of this.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's such an opportunity, and I'm always super grateful for you here, Dan. Do you have 1 more minute for me to ask you a quick script question?
Yeah.
Okay. I know we're at the end of the call, and I hate to do it. One of the things that Jeremy talked about was the lukewarm introduction and how he calls people and says, hey, Dave asked me to give you a call. Sounds like we'd be a great fit. You might be a person I like. What he didn't talk about is how do you overcome the objection? Because we know they're going to say, I already got a loan officer, all of that. And I just know that there's some negative thinking that people are having about, if I make that call, they're going to say no. Do you have any way that you overcome that objection?
Yeah, one, go into it knowing that they're going to say, I have a loan officer. Nobody likes to be sold over the phone. And so there's two ways that I approach it. One, mentally, I know they're going to say that. Number two, I say, I get it, Todd. I totally understand. Here's the thing. We help a lot of families in Edmonds. I know you sell a lot of homes in Edmonds. And one day I know for a fact that our paths are going to cross in the marketplace. And I'll tell you what, relationships are everything right now. And I want to always do what I can to serve my clients at the highest level. If we know each other, there's a better chance of our clients' offers getting accepted. And heck, it's an opportunity for us to work together at that point too. So I'd love to just pop by. When are you usually in the office? And I don't stop and let them reply. I go right into, when are you usually in the office? And then I say, great, I'm going to stop by to see Adam. I know you work with Adam. He's the one that told me to connect with you. I'm bringing him coffee tomorrow. What's your favorite coffee? I'm going to stop at Starbucks across the street and I'll bring you your favorite drink.
Boom. All right. I love it. I know it was like a left field, kind of took us off track for a minute, but I just, it was one of those things. Jeremy had to jump and I wanted to make sure that we helped people with an objection. And I think you're right. You always have to know you're going to get that objection. So how do we want to close this out, Dave?
So Todd, first of all, fantastic, man. You look how Todd is looking out for you guys, because he knows that objection is going to happen. Guys, I am so proud of this call and the way it went down. Jeremy gave you some ideas on how to get the actual meeting. He gave you some great scripts. Todd Duncan gave you some great concepts and great scripts. Dan killed it. He helped you handle the biggest objection ever. Highly recommend. This is a call you want to re-listen to. If you are a manager later, I mean, I think this call warrants a sales meeting around it. And I just want to close out saying thank you to everyone who adds value, and just you listening and you participating, you asking questions, that adds value. So thank you for being active in the mortgage coach community. If you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, recommend that you subscribe so that you get an alert when a new video gets put up there. And give us a like, share it with your friends. Dan Keller, thank you as always for making time for this community. We appreciate you, brother.
Love you guys. You guys are awesome. Keep up the great work.
Dude, great
Love you, brother. And Todd Bookspan, as always, dude, appreciate you. Remember, guys, get after it with the CMA a day contest, or I think we're calling it challenge. There's a link down below to buy 10, 20 of those things. They're only $5 a piece. Get out there, use that CMA a day, TCA a day challenge to help realtors sell more homes and help you get more loans. This call's a wrap. Take care, everybody.
As always, see you next week.